小事情儿去再太阳。
There are tons of fun things to do in the Pingtan Road Historic District. You could travel back in time by renting traditional Chinese costume and have a field day photographing yourself with more than a dozen century-old bridges, or take a boat ride along the Pingtan River. These are some of the highlights of Pingtan Road, but you could revel in these at the various Xuejia water towns located elsewhere across the Jiangnan region as well. For something less frequently found outside Suzhou, look no further than Pingtan. If you only have time to do one touristy thing on Pingtan Road, may I suggest Pingtan. So that is the first order of the day. Pingtan on Pingtan. Pingtan is a musical and oral performance art form which combines storytelling and singing, predominantly performed in the Suzhou dialect. Thus, although Pingtan is popular around the Jiangnan region and thrived in cities like Shanghai, Suzhou is distinguished as birthplace and temple, much like what New Orleans is to jazz. And similar to how bars were instrumental to the growth of jazz in the Big Easy, historically tea houses served as the stage for Pingtan performers. This particular tea house we chose is quite historic. It is repurposed from an old mansion. A nice man in charge informs me that the original tiles and stained glass panels from the 1920s have been preserved, and this pavilion is over 100 years old. The ambience ushers you into the bygone era when Suzhou was awash with Pingtan tea houses, where folks would spend the afternoon sipping teas while listening to performers tell jokes and sing stories.
空余起风和鸣人下阳马路大痞子。
Pingtan can be performed solo and as a trio, but all the performances I've seen feature duets. The instrument in the gentleman's hands is a sanxian, a type of three-string Chinese lute, from which derived instruments in other East Asian countries like the Japanese sangen. This particular sanxian is more than a century old and was passed on to the gentleman by his teacher. The other instrument often seen in Pingtan performance is the pipa, which also gave rise to other Asian instruments like the Korean bipa and Japanese biwa. The pipa is so important to Pingtan. This venue is named琵琶语, literally pipa language. The language of the pipa is diverse and can be powerful enough to depict relatively masculine subjects like battle scenes. Though for some reason pipa players nowadays are usually, but not always, female, similar to the general rarity of male harpists. One of the pipa-wielding Pingtan artists here at 琵琶语 is the headliner. Miss Wu Liangning boasts quite the resume, having performed on national TV shows and for state leaders at Zhongnanhai. She is also the original performer of the Xinhuaiji, which was adapted into the high-grossing and multiple award-winning blockbuster The Flowers of War, and which we get to enjoy live. If you enjoyed the performance, hit that like. That performance comes at an extra cost, by the way, because it is a piece requested from the menu, sort of like song requests for DJs. Perhaps entranced by the immersive atmosphere or engrossed by the enchanting quality of the other complimentary performances, the audience has been quite inclined to make and pay for requests. We too feel quite inclined and decide to request a Pingtan classic inspired by the Chinese drama classic Romance of the Western Chamber. My plan was to visit the nearby Pingtan Museum to learn more about this form of narrative singing, but we end up chilling here for the whole afternoon. By the time the afternoon session wraps up, it's about time to think about what's for dinner. In the modified words of A Tribe Called Quest, it's a Friday afternoon in the middle of June. It's actually a Friday afternoon filled with music and lyrics. In fact, the lyrics in the line I heard earlier today is the inspiration for dinner tonight. So let us switch from the musical and lyrical form of art to the culinary form of art. One of the lines in the piece we picked could be roughly understood as cool breeze moving the water lilies fragrance in summer. Another similar looking plant occasionally referred to as water lily is the lotus. The lotus blooms in summer and its leaves are often used in making summer dishes. Inspired by the water lily, we want to seek out a dish featuring lotus leaves, and we also have some other summer fruits in mind. So we will walk for about 1 kilometer to the Guantian Street area to visit the Suzhou cuisine stalwart, the Yue Lou, which is a restaurant that some locals avoid because it is famous and tends to attract tourists, but I also know some other locals who opine otherwise. Regardless, today we chose the Yue Lou because of its huge repertoire that includes the dishes we seek. So in my Suzhou videos, I've underscored on numerous occasions the importance of seasonality in governing what the locals eat in which seasons. So which is why something as mundane as the tuanzi, sticky rice ball or lump, can come in so many different seasonal varieties. In spring, there is Pingtan, the verdant lump or green ball, and in summer, there is the炒肉团子 with stir-fried meat and seasonal vegetable fillings. I've done videos on those, so I'll link them below. And the same seasonality mindset applies to pork dishes as well. So in spring, there is the pork dish Jiangsu Province, which I didn't get a chance to film. So I'm not going to miss the opportunity to do a video on summer's pork dish, 荷叶粉蒸肉, steamed pork with rice flour wrapped in lotus leaves. The rice here could be sticky rice and or regular rice, by the way. So for some of you Chinese food fans out there, you might have heard of or eaten or even made your own 粉蒸肉, steamed pork with rice flour, because it is a common home-cooked dish associated with numerous regional Chinese cuisines, such as those of Sichuan and Jiangxi. And then for some of you other Chinese food fans, you might have had foods wrapped in lotus leaves, 荷叶. Maybe at your local dim sum restaurant, think sticky rice chicken or the smaller pearl chicken, which you might know of as 糯米雞 and 珍珠雞 in Cantonese, or 糯米雞 and 珍珠雞 in Mandarin. But putting the two together in the form of 粉蒸肉 enveloped in 荷叶, I bet you haven't seen that combination before. Well, there's a slim chance that you might have seen this dish at a restaurant that specializes in Zhejiang or Jiangsu cuisine. From most of the sources I've read, this dish is explained as having originated from the neighboring province of Zhejiang. But regardless of place of origin, the 荷叶粉蒸肉 is certainly a part of the local culinary tradition today, because the Suzhou folks have elevated this dish to a prominence level. It is one of the 4 porks of the 4 seasons, here representing summer. Well, so the mic failed me, so I have to shoot the rest of the video again. So anyway, I was saying how the 荷叶粉蒸肉 is one of the 4 porks of the 4 seasons, and while the regular 粉蒸肉might feel a bit heavy on a hot and sticky summer day, because of the fatty pork and the sticky rice, the 荷叶 lotus leaves can help alleviate the problem, because the herbal, leafy, slightly bitter note of the Hue feels refreshing, sort of like cool breeze moving water. That's line from the Pingtan earlier. And of course, the leaves add to the flavor complexity as well. What's more, according to traditional Chinese medicine philosophy, the Heye can drain the body of internal heat and dampness, among other functions, which is why it's a useful ingredient in summer. While the Heye 粉蒸肉 is quite commonly found in local restaurants during summer, this other summer dish is a bit less common, which is why we decided to come to the Yue Lou tonight, a historic and encyclopedic restaurant. The dish I'm talking about is sanxia tofu, triple shrimp tofu. The triple shrimp doesn't refer to 3 kinds of shrimp, but rather 3 parts of the shrimp, namely the flesh, and then the roll, and lastly the head of the pancreas, colloquially called the brain, because the liver-like organ is housed inside the head of the shrimp. Foodies with a penchant for seafood boil should be no stranger to the brain, because the coveted crawfish butter or crawfish fat is the head of pancreas of the liver crawler. I just call it brain because it's less of a tongue twister. The crawfish butter is buttery, rich, like semi-melted butter. And the same is true for shrimp brain, except when prepared this way, the brains harden into little morsels with a texture perhaps akin to chocolate chips in soft cookies. Add to that plump flesh and the grainy roll, and you have sanxia triple shrimp, which could be made into sanxia tofu, triple shrimp tofu, or just stir fried on their own in the form of qingchao sanxia. But for some reason, the triple shrimp dishes are not really widely available in restaurants, which again is why they decided to come to the Yue Lou tonight. But there's one exception, sanxia men, the triple shrimp noodles. The majority of Suzhou noodle shops are serving sanxia men right now. Last year, I did a video, linked below, explaining why I think sanxia men epitomizes Suzhou. I should point out that most, but not all, local noodle eaters despise the dish. Why? Subscribe to my channel, because I will make another triple shrimp noodles video soon. 再见。